Section XLI. PHINEHAS. And the Lord spake with Moshe, saying, Phinehas the zealous, the son of Eleazar bar Aaron, the priest, hath turned away mine anger from the children of Israel, in that, when zealous with my zeal, he hath slain the sinners who were among them, and for his sake I have not destroyed the children of Israel in my indignation. Swearing by my name, I say to him, Behold, I decree to him my covenant of peace, and will make him an angel of the covenant, that he may ever live, to announce the redemption at the end of the days. Jerusalem. With the oath went Moshe, and said unto Phinehas, Behold, I give to him, and because they defamed him, saying, Is he not the son of Phuti the Midianite? Behold, I will make him to possess the high priesthood, and because he took the lance with his arm, and struck the Midianitess in her body, and prayed with his mouth for the people of the house of Israel. The priests shall be held worthy of the 3 gifts of the shoulder, the cheekbone, and the inwards, and it shall be to him, and to his sons after him, an everlasting covenant of consecration, because he was zealous for the Lord, and propitiated for the children of Israel. Now the name of the man of Israel who was slain with the Midianitha was Zimri bar Salu, a chief of the house of his fathers of the tribe of Shimeon. And the name of the Midianite woman who was killed was Cosbi, daughter of Ziah, who was called Shelani, a daughter of Balak, the prince of the people of Moab, whose dwelling place was in Midian. And the Lord spake with Moshe, saying, Trouble the Midianites and slay them, because they troubled you by the deceitful counsels when they beguiled you in the matter of Peor, and of Cosbi the sister, daughter of the prince of Midian, who was slain in the day of the plague for the matter of Peor. Jerusalem. For the false dealings. 26. And it came to pass after the plague, that the compassions of the heavens were turned to avenge his people with judgment. And the Lord spake to Moshe and Eleazar bar Aaron the priests, saying, Take the sum of the account of the whole congregation of the Beni Israel, from 20 years old and upward, according to the house of the fathers, of every one who goeth forth with the host in Israel. And Moshe and Eleazar the priests spake with the leaders, and commanded that they should number them in the plain of Moab, by the Jordan, over against Jericho, saying, You are to number them from a son of 20 years and upward, as the Lord commanded Moshe and the sons of Israel when they came out of the land of Mizraim. Reuben, the firstborn of Israel. The sons of Reuben, Hanik, the family of Hanik, of Phallu, the family of Phallu, of Hezron, the family of Hezron, of Carmi, the family of Carmi. These are the families of Reuben, and the numbers were 43,730. And the sons of Phallu, Eliab, the sons of Eliab, Nemuel, and Dathan, and Abiram. The same were Dathan and Abiram, who brought together the congregation that gathered and made the division against Moshe and Aaron in the congregation of Koresh, when they gathered together and made division against the Lord. And the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them and Koresh, when the congregation of the wicked died, when the fire devoured the 250 men, and they were made an example. But the sons of Koresh were not in the counsel of the Father, but followed the doctrine of Moshe the prophet, and therefore they died not by the plague, nor were smitten by the fire, nor engulfed in the yawning of the earth. Jerusalem. But the sons of Koresh, who were not in the counsel of the Father, did not die. The Beni Shimeon, 1 Nemuel, Jamin, Jachin, Zerach, Shaul, with the families, 22,200. Of Gad, the families of Zephon, Hagi, Suni, Ozni, Heri, Arad, Ireli, 40,500. Of Jehudah, Haran Onan. But Haran Onan died on account of the sins in the land of Canaan. Of the Beni Jehudah, the families of Shelah, Pherez, Zerach. The sons of Pherez, Hezron, Amul. The numbers of the families of Jehudah, 76,500. Of Issachar, the families of Thola, Pur, Jashub, Shimron, 64,300. Of Zebulun, the families of Serd, Elon, Jaleel, 60,500. Of Joseph, the Beni Menashe, Machir, Gilead, Thezat, Helek, Asriel, Shechem, Shemida, Hepher. But Zelophehad bar Hepher had no sons, but daughters only, and the names of the daughters of Zelophehad were Mahlah, Nohah, Hogekah, Milcah, and Tirzah. These are the families of Menashe, and the number 52,700. The Beni Ephraim, Shuthala, Bechiah, Takon, Heron the son of Shuthala, the numbers 32,500. The families of Benjamin, Bela, Ashbel, Abiram, Shetufiah, the sons of Bea, Ared and Naaman, 45,600. The Beni Dan, the families of Shim, 64,400. Those of Asher, Jimnah, Jeshva, Beriah, and of the sons of Beriah, Heber and Malchiel. The name of the daughter of Asher was Sarai, who was conducted by 6 myriads of angels, and taken into the Garden of Eden alive, because she had made known to Jacob that Joseph was living. The numbers of Asher, 53,400. The Beni Naphtali, according to the families, Jagziel, Guni, Jezet, Shillim, 45,400. These are the numbers of the sons of Israel, 601,730. And the Lord spake with Moshe, saying, Unto these tribes shall the land be divided by inheritances according to the names. To the tribe whose people are many thou shalt make their inheritance large. Unto the tribe whose people are few thou shalt give a smaller inheritance, to each his heritage shall be given according to the number of his names. Yet the land shall be divided by lots, according to the names of the fathers' tribes they shall inherit. The heritage shall be divided by lots, whether great or small. But these are the names of the Levites after the families of Gershon, Kehath, Merari. These are the families of the Levites. The family of Libni, Hebron, Maheli, Mushi, Koresh. And Kehath begat Amram, and the dame of Amram's wife was Jochebed, a daughter of Levi, who was born to Levi when they had come into Mizraim within the walls, and she bare to Amram Aharon, Amush, and Miriam the sister. And to Aharon were born Nadab and Abihu, Eleazar and Ithamar. But Nadab and Abihu died when they offered the strange fire from the hearthpots before the Lord. And the number of them, the Levites, was 23,000, every male from a month old and upward, for they were not reckoned among the children of Israel, as no possession was given them among the sons of Israel. These are the numbers when Moshe and Eleazar the priests numbered the sons of Israel in the plains of Moab, by Jordan, over against Jericho. And among them was not a man of the numbers when Moshe and Aharon the priest took the sum of the children of Israel in the wilderness of Sinai. Because the Lord had said that dying they should die in the wilderness, and none of them remained except Caleb bar Jephunneh and Jehoshua bar Nun. 27. And the daughters of Zelophehad bar Hepher, bar Gilead, bar Machir, bar Menashe, of the family of Menashe bar Joseph, when they heard that the land was to be divided to the males, came to the Beth Din, trusting in the compassions of the Lord of the world. And these are the names of the daughters, Mahlah, Nohah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Tirzah. And they stood before Moshe after that they had stood before Eleazar the priest, the princes, and all the congregation, at the door of the tabernacle of ordinance, saying, Our father died in the wilderness. But he was not among the congregation who murmured and gathered to rebel against the Lord in the congregation of Koresh, but died for his own sin, nor made he others to sin, but he had no male children. Why should the name of our father be taken away from among his family because he had not a male child? If we are not reckoned as a son, and our mother claim or observe the Jebim, too, our mother will take the portion of our father and of our father's brother. But if we be reckoned as a son, give us an inheritance among our father's brethren. This is one of the 4 cases of judgment brought before Moshe the prophet, and which he resolved in the manner above said. Of them some were judgments, and see. 3. And Moshe brought their cause before the Lord. And the Lord spake with Moshe, saying, The daughters of Zelophehad have fitly spoken. This hath been written before me. But they are worthy that it be said of them, Give them possession and inheritance among the brethren of the father, and make over the father's possession unto them. And when a son of Israel shall speak, and say, A man hath died without having a male child, then you shall make over his inheritance to his daughter. If he have no daughter, you shall give his possession to his brothers. If he have no brothers, you shall give his possession to the brethren of his fatia. But if his father had no brothers, then you shall give his possession to his kinsman who is nearest to him of his father's family to inherit. And this shall be the publication of a decree of judgment to the children of Israel, as the Lord hath commanded Moshe. And the Lord said to Moshe, Go up to this mount of Abari, and survey the land which I have given to the children of Israel. And thou shalt see it, but thou thyself shalt be gathered to thy people, as Aaron thy brother hath been gathered. Because you were disobedient against my word in the desert of Zin, in the congregation at the waters of strife, to sanctify me at the waters in the sight. These are the waters of strife in the desert of Zin. And Moshe spake before the Lord, saying, May the word of the Lord, who ruleth over the souls of men, and by whom hath been given the inspiration of the Spirit of all flesh, appoint a faithful man over the congregation, Jerusalem. The word of the Lord, the God who ruleth over the spirit of all flesh. Appoint a praiseworthy man over the people of the congregation, who may go out before them to set battle in array, and may come in before them from the he battle, who may bring them out from the bands of their enemies, and bring them into the land of Israel, that the congregation of the Lord may not be without the wise, nor go astray among the nations as sheep who go astray, having no shepherd. And the Lord said to Moshe, Take to thee Jehoshua bar Nun, a man upon whom abideth the spirit of prophecy from before the Lord, and lay thy hand upon him, and make him stand before Eleazar the priest and the whole congregation, and instruct him in the presence. And thou shalt confer a ray of thy brightness upon him, that all the congregation of the sons of Israel may be obedient to him. And he shall minister before Eleazar the priest, and when any matter is hidden from him, he shall inquire for him before the Lord by Uriah. According to the word of Eleazar the priest they shall go forth to battle, and come in to the judgment, be and all the sons of Israel with him, even all the congregation. And Moshe did as the Lord commanded him, and took Jehoshua and caused him to stand before Eleazar the priest and all the congregation, and he laid his hands upon him and instructed him, as the Lord commanded Moshe. 28. And the Lord spake with Moshe, saying, Instruct the children of Israel, and say to them, The priests may eat of my oblation the bread of the order of my table, but that which you offer upon my altar may no man eat. Is there not a fire that will consume it? And it shall be accepted before me as a pleasant smell. Sons of Israel, my people, be admonished to offer it from the firstlings on the Sabbath, an oblation before me in its time. Jerusalem. Instruct the children of Israel, and say to them, My oblation, the bread of the order of my table, that which you offer upon the altar. Is there not a fire that will consume it? To be received from you before me for a pleasant smell. Sons of Israel, my people, be admonished to offer it before me in its season. And say to them, This is the order of the oblations you shall offer before the Lord, 2 lambs of the year, unblemished, daily, a perpetual burnt offering. The 1 lamb thou shalt perform in the morning to make atonement for the sins of the night, and the 2nd lamb thou shalt perform between the suns to atone for the sins of the day, and the 10th of seahs of wheaten flour as a mincha mingled with beaten olive oil, the 4th of a hin. It is a perpetual burnt offering, such as was ordained to be offered at Mount Sinai, to be received with favor as an oblation before the Lord. And its libation shall be the 4th of a hin for 1 lamb. For the vessels of the house of the sanctuary shall it be outpoured, a libation of old wine. Jerusalem. For the vessels of the house of holiness, it shall be poured out a libation of choice wine unto the name of the Lord. But if old wine may not be found, bring wine of 40 days to pour out before the Lord. And the 2nd lamb thou shalt perform between the suns, according to the presentation of the morning, and according to its oblation shalt thou make the offering, that it may be accepted with favor before the Lord. But on the day of Shabbath are 2 lambs of the year without blemish, and 2/10 of flour mixed with olive oil for the mincha and its libation. On the Sabbath thou shalt make a Sabbath burnt sacrifice in addition to the perpetual burnt sacrifice and its libation. And at the beginning of your months you shall offer a burnt sacrifice before the Lord, 2 young bullocks, without mixture, 1 ram, lambs of the year 7. unblemished, and 3/10 of flour mingled with oil for the mincha for 1 bullock, 2/10 of flour with olive oil for the mincha of the 1 ram, and 1/10 of flour with olive oil for the mincha for each lamb of the burnt offering, an oblation to be received with favor before the Lord. And for the libation to be offered with them, the half of a bin for a bullock, the third of a bin for the ram, and the fourth of a hin for a lamb, of the wine of grapes. This burnt sacrifice shall be offered at the beginning of every month in the time of the removal of the beginning of every month in the year, and 1 kid of the goats. For a sin offering before the Lord at the disappearing failure of the moon, with the perpetual burnt sacrifice shalt thou perform with its libation. And in the month of Nisan, on the 14th day of the month, is the sacrifice of the Pascha before the Lord. On the 15th day of this month is a festival, 7 days shall unleavened be eaten. On the first day of the festival a holy convocation, no servile work shall ye do, but offer an oblation of a burnt sacrifice before the Lord. 2 young bullocks, 1 ram, and 7 lambs of the year, unblemished, shall you have. And the minches of wheat flour, mingled with olive oil, 3/10 for each bullock, 2/10 for the ram, and for a single lamb 1/10, so for the 7, and 1 kid of the goats to make an atonement for you. Beside the burnt sacrifice of the morning, the perpetual burnt sacrifice, you shall make these offerings. According to these oblations of the first day you shall do daily through the 7 days of the festival. It is the bread of the oblation which is received with favor before the Lord. It shall be made beside the perpetual burnt offering with its libation. And on the 7th day you shall have a holy convocation, no servile work shall you do. Likewise on the day of your firstlings, when you offer the gift from the new produce before the Lord in your ingatherings, after the 7 weeks are completed, you shall have a holy convocation. No servile work shall you do, but offer a burnt sacrifice to be received with favor before the Lord. 2 young bullocks, 1 ram, 7 lambs of the year, also the mincha of wheat and flour mingled with olive oil. 3/10 for each bullock, 2/10 for the ram, 1/10 to a lamb, so for the 7 lambs 1 kid of the goats to make an atonement for you. Beside the perpetual burnt offering you shall make these, they shall be unblemished, with the libation of wine. 29. And in the 7th month, the month of Tishri, on the 1st of the month you shall have a holy convocation. You may not do any servile work. It shall be to you a day for the sounding of the trumpet, that by the voice of your trumpets you may disturb Satan who cometh to accuse you. And you shall make a burnt sacrifice to be received with favor before the Lord, 1 young bullock, 1 ram, lambs of the year 7, unblemished, and the mincha of wheat and flour mingled with olive oil, 3/10 for the bullock, 2/10 for the ram, and 1/10 for each of the 7 lambs, and 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering to make an atonement for you, besides the sacrifice for the beginning of the month and its mincha, and the perpetual sacrifice and its mincha, and the libations according to the order of their appointments, an oblation to be received with favor before the Lord. And on the 10th of the 7th month, the month of Tishri, you shall have a holy convocation, and chasten your souls, by abstaining from food and drink, the bath, friction, sandals, and the marriage bed, and you shall do no servile labor, but offer a sacrifice before the Lord to be received with favor, 1 young bullock, 1 ram, lambs of the year 7, unblemished, shall you have, and the mincha of wheat flour mingled with olive oil, 3/10 for the bullock, 2/10 for 1 ram, a single 10th for a lamb, so for the 7 lambs 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, beside the sin offering of the expiations, Lev, XVI, and the perpetual sacrifice, and the minches, and the wine of the libations. And on the 5th day of the 7th month you shall have a holy convocation. No servile work shall you do, but shall celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles before the Lord 7 days, and offer a sacrifice, an oblation to be received with favor before the Lord. 13 young bullocks proceeding daily and diminishing the number. In all, 70 for the 70 nations, and offering them by 13 orders. 4. 2 rams, which you shall offer by 2 orders, lambs of the year 14 unblemished, to be offered by 8 orders, offering 6 of them by 2 and 2 of them 1 by 1, they shall be perfect. The mincha also of wheat flour, with olive oil, 3/10 for each bullock of the 13, 2/10 for each ram, a single tenth for each of the 14 lambs, and 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, which shall be offered by 1 order, beside the perpetual sacrifice, the wheat flour for the mincha, and the wine of the libation. On the 2nd day of the Feast of Tabernacles you shall offer 12 young bullocks by 12 orders, 2 rams by 2 orders, 14 lambs of the year unblemished by 9 orders, 5 of them shall offer 2 by 2, and 4 of them 1 by 1, and the mincha of wheat flour, and the wine of the libation, which shall be offered with the bullocks, rams, and lambs, by the number according to the order of their appointment, and 1 ram by 1 order, a sin offering, beside the perpetual sacrifice, and the wheat flour of the minches, and the libations of wine. On the 3rd day of the Feast of Tabernacles you shall offer 12 bullocks by 12 orders, 2 rams by 2 orders, 14 unblemished lambs of the year by 10 orders, 4 of them shall offer 2 and 2, and 6 of them 1 by 1, and the mincha of wheat flour, and the libations of wine, you shall offer with the bullocks, rams, and lambs by the number in their appointed order, and 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering by 1 order, beside the perpetual sacrifice, the wheat flour for the mincha, and its libation of wine. On the 4th day of the Feast of Tabernacles, 10 young bullocks by 10 orders, 2 rams by 2 orders, 14 unblemished lambs of the year by 12 orders, 3 of them shall be offered at 2 times, and 8 of them singly, the mincha of wheat and flour, and the libations of wine, which you shall offer with the bullocks, rams, and lambs by the number, after their appointed order, and 1 kid for a sin offering by 1 order, beside the perpetual sacrifice, the wheat flour for the mincha, and its libation of wine. On the 5th day of the Feast of Tabernacles, 9 young bullocks by 9 orders, 2 rams by 2 orders, lambs of the year 14, perfect by 12 orders, 2 of them in a pair, 12 singly, and the wheat flour for the mincha, and the libation wine for the bullocks, the rams, and lambs by the number after the order of their appointment, and 1 kid for a sin offering by 1 order, beside the perpetual sacrifice, and the wheat flour for the mincha, and the wine of its libation. On the 6th day of the Feast of Tabernacles, 8 young bullocks by 8 orders, 2 rams by 2 orders, 14 unblemished lambs of the year by 13 orders, a pair of them together, and 12 of them singly, the mincha of wheat flour, and the libation of wine you shall offer with the bullocks, rams, and lambs, by the number in the order appointed, and 1 kid for a sin offering by 1 order, besides the perpetual sacrifice, the wheat flour for the mincha, the wine of its libation, and a vase of water to be outpoured on the day of the Feast of Tabernacles in grateful acknowledgment, for a good memorial of the showers of rain. On the 7th day of the Feast of Tabernacles you shall offer 7 bullocks by 7 orders, 2 rams by 2 orders, 14 unblemished lambs of the year by 14 orders. The number of all these lambs 98, to make atonement against the 98 maledictions. And the mincha of wheat flour and libations of wine you shall offer with the bullocks, reins, and lambs by the number, according to the order appointed, 1 kid by 1 order, beside the perpetual sacrifice, the wheat flour for the mincha, and its libation of wine. And on the 8th day you shall gather together joyfully from your tabernacles, in your houses, a gladsome company, a festal day, and a holy convocation shall you have. No servile work shall you do, but offer a sacrifice, an oblation to be received with favor before the Lord, light oblations, 1 bullock before the one God, 1 ram for the one people, lambs of the year unblemished, 7 for the joy of the 7 days, the mincha of wheat flour, and the libations of wine which you shall offer with the bullocks. rams and iams by the number, after the order of their appointment, and 1 kid for a sin offering, beside the perpetual sacrifice, the flour for its mincha, and the wine for its libation. These you shall offer before the Lord in the time of your festivals, beside your vows which you vow at the festival, and which you shall bring on the day of the feast, with your free will oblation for your burnt sacrifice, your mincha, libations, and consecrated victims. XXX. And Moshe spake to the sons of Israel, according to all that the Lord had commanded Moshe.